Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome back to RaceFace.Pro PokerBet GT3 Sprint Series. And here for round 1, season 13, we're racing around Imola. Joining me in the box is the one, the only, and also coming out of a British race in a Caterham. Well, you know you love him, Tristan Herbst. Tristan, welcome back. And, well, you've switched up from going behind the steering wheel, but I'm sure you've been just excited to get back behind the microphone for our next season of the Sprint Series. And we got PokerBet rejoining us once again for some amazing racing action. We got an absolutely stacked field tonight for the Sprint Series. It is something to keep an eye out on.
No, absolutely, man. It has been a craving little piece that has been coming out of me trying to get back at this. It's been such a long wait, but it was a well-deserved break for the drivers to get their mindset back into position for Season 13. And finally, we hit the circuits back again here at Imola for the first round of Season 13. And I mean, I am so excited. I'm so awesomized that PokerBet has been able to come back once again, getting these drivers geared up, ready to go for another whole season of 8 adrenaline-filled rounds of racing here at RaceFace. And I mean, Stephen, I cannot lie to you, man. I am so excited. We've got some new names on the grid, and some of the old names also, some of the top guns from last season coming in to try and dominate the grid. And I think that this is going to be quite an interesting season coming in for Season 13. Yeah, it might be one of the most interesting seasons for this year.
Yeah, it's going to be a great one, I think, and we've got quite a contingent of drivers, returning drivers like the Luke Addison and Tariq Adam. They're having a bit of fun. Bernard Barkhuizen, we're going to get back touching onto that because he is sporting a new livery, but it's for a different reason. So, not with the Omnius Gaming at the moment, but he is with the KSR factory team. Going to put some more emphasis in a bit of family life, but he's got a monster fight because we've even got the return of Giovanni Paul Zero coming in, having a bit of fun with us. I have to do it. I mean, the emphasis right there. Gio!
100%.
All the way across. But we've also got our defending champion, Henry Mayer, out on track. He's looking to try and hold that crown once again. It is going to be a proper run. Looking at the grid, though, let's let everyone know. You see on the screen, you got currently 26, 23 on the screen. Well, I would like to let everyone know we have got 46 cars out on track, qualifying, getting their times in, and absolutely going to be sending it this evening, which I think is going to be a great one. But we're starting to see that Giovanni sitting at 143. 4-0. I've got to get that one right because it gets close, because Luke Addison is 0.092 right behind, who's just been beaten out by Daniel Rowe. So now the returning battle that comes in for many people that know RaceFace.Pro earlier on, I think about 2 years ago. So it's great to see Tariq Adam lying in 5th place. Then we got Philip Minnar, who's out on track. I've got to say, stylish livery right there. And for the 255 competition, Bernard Barkhuizen lying in 7th. Bego Krobler in 8th. 9th is Mordrake Larsens. Pandasti switching up their colors. I've got to say, a big up onto that one. The white and black that they originally had, trying to copy the Panda, just didn't do it for me. The purple stands out far better at this point. We got Crystals. He's looking to go and claw his way back up through the field. Young Kleinans is making some headway. Gideon Reina, Viertia Buerta, Mac van der Merwe, Gerrit Bucas, Brandon Kruger. I mean, we can keep going through this list. Well, Henry Mayer, though, going to change it all. He puts himself right up into 1st place to retain the defending champion. And this is his first season back in racing after winning the PokerBet GT3 Sprint Series and the Thursday, the GT3 Championship. He went and bought himself a new rig, from a new Addy rig. He was originally on some homemade contraption that wasn't quite the greatest, but this is his first season in proper anger in the new rig.
Well, he's actually been taken down right now by the likes of Philip Minnar. He was heard you speaking about him there, Stephen. Managed to pull it up the first sub 40 of the session, a 139.955. So incredible heights coming in here for the first round of Season 13. Drivers are not going to be putting this on the slow hand side of the brake. This is going to be full throttle down to the line, and we can see that in our amazing virtual grandstand here, the PokerBet virtual grandstand. So many people coming back from last season, and a couple of new people as well coming back to support some teammates who were on a little bit of a break and they decided to join RaceFace once again. We've got John Fenter, Bernard, Anushka Buerta, who we know also, Vietia Buerta, supporting him throughout the entire of last season, is now back at it again to maybe try and grab her crown for the top spot of the virtual grandstand. We've got Darren saying, let's go, welcome back to the teammate, Mr. Patterson. So we all know that Kieran Patterson joins the grid once again for season 13 here of the Sprint Series. So he was off on a little bit of a break, but he's back to absolutely dominate the grid. And the grid is slowly starting to form to be one that is quite aggressive. So Kieran Patterson currently sitting down in 44th position. I mean, a whopping 46 drivers on Imola. I mean, that's a fantastically high amount of people to be racing around a track like Imola. But right now, the grid order as it stands, in terms of times, look at that. I mean, 1/100th of a second between Luke Addison and Philip Minor, followed by 140 split seconds with Daniel Rowe in third, Bernard Barkhuizen, our follow-up from last season, sitting in fourth, and Henry Mayer a little bit further behind, trying to claim his seat back at the top. He's looking at these fast drivers ahead. He's like, whoa, I didn't see these guys last season. I'm going to have to put the foot down a little bit harder. And that's exactly what he's going to be doing around here at Imola for the 45 minutes feature race that we're going to be going ham at. Brandon Kruger also setting an impressive time up into 6th now for the Omnius Gaming KSR livery, which is rocking quite a sleek design over there. And then obviously also the likes of Chris Stoltz coming nicely up into 2nd. Gio Porzio getting a little bit pushed down to 8th position. And there we go. Kieran Patterson up into the top 10 already. And he's managed to set a time. Oh, and Henry Mayer coming with the banger.
Yeah, no, a 139.7. Philip Minor with a 139.955. Luke Addison, a 139.967. That is our top 3. That is what our top 3 are sitting at. Luke Addison, Philip Minor, and Henry Mayer all into the 39s. Daniel Rowe is the start of the 1 minute 40s, which go all the way down to 22nd position, all doing 1 minute 40s. And then from 23rd down to looking at Tias Buerta in 33rd, Ferry Duplessis in 34th, sitting with those 141s. I mean, this is how stacked the field is. I'm excited. I am seriously excited because we have got some serious elbows out from these drivers that are looking to really step up the mark, push themselves out a little bit more, and are going to keep each other on their toes. I mean, 45 minutes around Imola, not an easy feat. 45 minutes with 46 cars, definitely going to be busy, but doing 1 minute 39s, 1 minute 40s, so the race pace is going to be about 1 minute 40s, 1 minute 41s. I mean, this is wild, wild stuff. You and I, thankfully, we're sitting in the commentary box and going to say beautiful.
Oh,
here.
100%.
And
it's yep.
So
it's
let's see.
Oh, okay, cool. All good about that. But yeah, it's looking quite lavish and sunny up here at the top of the commentary box. You know, seeing all of these fast drivers. Thankfully, me and Steven are not down there in cars. We'd be shivering right now, I think, Steven. I mean, these guys are sending it around track a little bit too fast for my liking. And it's not just one of them. It's up to 24 cars within a 1 minute 40 bracket. That is an incredibly close margin of a field here for the Sprint Series. Like you mentioned, 46 cars and half of the grid are within an essential second within each other. That just shows you the level of competition here at RaceFace. It is incredibly close, down to the wire, and it really starts to show those skills that these drivers need to start showing. Elbows out, fighting each other through the chicanes as we head through the 45 minutes. It's not a lot of time to work with, Steven. You don't have all of those calculations and that 80-minute time gap to, you know, try and make a move in the pit lane and do something. No, you've got 45 minutes. No strategy comes into play here. Obviously, of course, if you get some form of damage or penalty, you're going to have to play the strat card. But everyone else, no penalties regardless here, and also no stops. If, you know, it's a 45-minute race. You don't need to change tires. You don't need to put petrol in. And it's an incredible feat to witness here. We're going to have 46 cars wrapping around for 45 minutes without strategy card. You know what that means? That is pure skill down to the line here as we approach the final minute, Steven. This is going to be, if not, one of the craziest sprint races we will watch.
Well, take a look at a couple of cars that haven't been able to set a lap time. Dean DePries, Mythe Mercer, Chris Beermister, do apologize, old Beermister Racing. this surname has been around once before.
I believe that's Bauermeister.
Bauermeister, okay. So fair enough. Thank you very much. I'm still
no
butchering
worries.
names. So Chris is going to be having a bit of fun. He's been racing here before. Jody Seidman, Red Light Motorsport, are going and having a bit of fun. I've got to say, this is going to be interesting. 4 cars, though, needing to put a time on the board. But where can you get that little bit of fresh air? You need to get the hammer in and get going. And when you've got people like Philip Minnaar, who is just constantly on your tail, wanting to set the fastest lap time, because Henry Mayer went and pipped him out, and you've got Luke Addison also giving his throw. He wants to be ahead of his fellow teammate, Tariq Adam. So Tariq Adam of Ignite's looking to try and keep away from the likes of ITB Esports. So it's good to see there. Daniel Rowe running in 6th place. Bernard Barkhuizen in 7th. Gideon Reyna in 8th. Brandon Kruger in 9th. I mean, for Almost Gaming KSR, Brandon Kruger's doing well in that Aston Martin. He's hoping to really get the skillful pass. Giovanni Porzio, letting him by. Good to see him back out there for... Oh, never mind. He's just going absolutely off the track. There we go.
Unfortunate scenes there.
Very unfortunate.
Yeah, a little bit unfortunate. I think that was a bit of a commentator's curse joining us not even before the feature race, Stephen. I mean, come on, this is round 1. We could have held it back a little bit. We decided to do it in qualifying of round 1, so people must know the commentators are ready to attack. We've got hands out. So, don't make too many mistakes because Stephen will come and bite you. But actually looking back at our virtual grandstand, we've got a couple of people in here throwing so much support in, but they actually don't know what they're supporting for. YN Lab saying, let's go Pandacity, but he's got no clue what's going on. Well, Mr. YN Lab, this is the epitome of GT3 racing in South Africa. We have got some of the fastest drivers here international racing around the track here at Imola for round 1, and none of them are showing short feet of work here. This is incredible amounts of practice and work that goes into these guys of trying to send it around track and breaking those 1-minute 40s. And I mean, there is a large margin of drivers here. Like we mentioned, 46 cars on this grid, 10 seconds left of qualifying, and it's just going to continue to evolve. 45 minutes in, this is going to start to get eventful. So keep your eyes peeled, especially if you don't know what's going on. You can learn pretty quick when you see a couple of guys going around that it is going to get hot. The track is looking nice and hot, and the drivers especially are looking nice and hot. They heard that it's round 1. They heard that PokerBet's here, and they're like, let's go. We're going to go full balls to the wall here and send it straight down the main straight here at Imola. So it's going to be a fantastic race as qualifying ends, waiting for a couple of drivers to finish off and cross that line, and then facing onto the mighty grid with Tim, eh?
Well, that's it. Tim the cameraman, Jim the marshals, but Philip Minnaar currently 0.3 up on everyone as Tariq Adam took first place. Henry Mayer's in second. Philip Minnaar is currently the fastest on track. Can he put himself towards that top spot? Henry Mayer missed out by 0.017. Philip Minnaar may make that hurt a little bit more. He's 0.3 up. Still giving it everything he's got. Absolutely flooring it through. This may be a lap to put him up into first place. He's coming up to the line. Is it going to be enough? Yes, it is. Philip Minnaar with a 1:39.5 goes and usurps Tariq Adam. Luke Addison, unfortunately, will not have that run and will drop down as well. So Luke, oh no, never mind. Luke Addison actually puts himself into second. So Philip Minnaar, Luke Addison, Tariq Adam, Henry Mayer, Kieran Patterson, Daniel Rowe, Bernard Barkhuizen, Gideon Reyna, Bega Krobler, and Brandon Kruger going and rounding it out. I mean, this is what GT3 racing is, and for anyone that is new to the world, welcome. Glad that you found us, glad that you're here. Welcome to the track and the only esports that matters. This is the RaceFace.Pro PokerBet GT3 Sprint Series, because you play Fortnite for fun. This you do for serious. So as we pump up to our commentary booth, I mean, let's think about what Imola is. Turn 1's going to be a bit of a, it's a quick left-hander. It's 15-degree turn angle. Don't worry about it too much. But turn 2, hard braking zone, hard left-hander with an immediate right-hander. That is where we're going to see this monster of a concertina effect start happening, especially with the amount of cars on the grid. Now, I've got to ask your thoughts on this, because you were having a chat to your drivers before they've even hit the grid.
Yeah, so I mean, the drivers have been hamming that practice server before this main race. Saw a couple of them actually sitting together in radio comms, trying to help each other out on those certain sections, because Imola is not an easy track. Lots of downhill braking zones, lots of very sketchy corners that can cause the car to easily lose the rear end. And we're looking at a nice and hot day here, which means that those tires can slowly start to pump out that little bit of energy that you don't want, and that car can spin around faster than you can even see the teammate in front of you. So, you know, it's all about trying to keep those nerves steady, trying to see the drives in front of you, trying to maintain that car up until the 45-minute mark, and until that Tim waves that checkered flag at the end of the race. You got to keep consistent, and that is the main thing, especially with GT3 racing, with our much longer race distances, especially over endurance racing. You have to keep it consistent. There's no point in being a hot lapper, setting one good lap and 4 bad laps. You got to keep it consistent, keep the car into a good tune, get the tires into a nice rhythm, and then absolutely blister it around track for these 45 minutes. And I mean, Steven, I don't know how this is going to go, man. We've got so many guys in the front that are so incredibly quick.
Yeah, I mean, just take a shot just under the bridge. You can see all the cars lined up, ready to go. This is going to be a difficult one, and I do think we're going to see a lot of drivers going and pushing themselves out of the boundaries. Kieran Patterson has taken a bit of a sabbatical. He was going and doing a bit of cricket and had a bit of fun out there. He's a returning driver. Luke Addison, Tariq Adam, they are returning. They've done one endurance race with us. Philip Minnaar as well, returning driver. Daniel Rowe, been in the championship, hasn't left. Bernard Barkhuizen, been in the championship, hasn't left. Gideon Reyna, Bego Krobler, Brandon Kruger, Giovanni, returning driver, hasn't been on the grid for a long time. I mean, this is what the field has come to. We have got a multitude of pro and pro-am drivers, some going for a little bit of an odd one of picking a Nissan GTR, but we'll take a look at it. So let's take a look at our rolling start and who is starting where. So as we're going to quickly jump up for the RaceFace.Pro PokerBet GT3 Sprint Series and go through the running order. It's Philip Minnaar out in first place with Luke Addison in second. Tariq Adam, followed by Henry Mayer, Kieran Patterson, Daniel Rowe, Bernard Barkhuizen, Gideon Reyna, Bego Krobler, Brandon Kruger, Giovanni Porzero, Chris Stolz, Fleming Bauer, Dean O'Clear, Johan Kleinert, followed by Ryan Barrington-Smith, Mordrake Clarsons, Kieran Duplessis, along with Jason Farmer, Isam Domingo, Henko van der Berg, Daniel de Villiers, Mac van der Merwe, Jean Verveers, along with Gerrit Bukes, BG Smit, Paul Feinter, Vietia Buerta, Gerry van Zale, Tianus Buerta, Farstar, Johan Verveers, Vessel Wooder, Henry Platt, Gerry Duplessis, Rowan Kleinans, Onro Stradler, Ruan van der Walt, Ryan Ferree, Jody Seidman, Chantal Hayson, along with Jean Mossart, Hilton Nixon, Ellen Prim, Mahayath Musa, Dean DePries, and Chris Buurmaster going and rounding out the field. I mean, this is just going to be a race of note, folks, and we have got some exciting times up ahead. Championship itself is a bit of a wild one. We also do say a monster welcome to a new sponsor, that is the Extreme Service Center, also jumping on board, being with us for the racing. Good to have you guys out here and ready to have some fun. But for all our drivers, multitudes of things going on, warming up those brakes, warming up those tires, getting ahead in the game, and this is it. There's no time to go and think back, can I change this, can I change that? Your race is about to start. And I think for everyone here, they're taking the same race setup as they will use tomorrow night for the RaceFace.Pro PokerBet GT3 Championship. You're going to be taking this same setup to ensure they have some consistency in it. But this is going to be a nightmare. Traffic is what we're going to be having to take a look at. And I mean, let's go to this. Tristan, you were commentating at a real race circuit, Red Star Raceway, one of our partners here at RaceFace.Pro. And you got to see how traffic played an impact in that, with Rob van der Heever actually being one of the guys who had to fight through traffic. He is actually sitting in the grandstand, so we don't see the whole car, but we're in for a bit of fun, and how that can twist and turn and change a race. We saw it last season as well, where the guys had to really push themselves out of their boundaries, stand on the throttle, and really give everything they got. Whether they're going to have the fuel usage or not, it's a different story. Philip Minnaar, though, and Luke Addison taking that top row, Tariq Adam, Henry Mayer. I mean, this is jam-packed from start to finish, bumper to bumper, here at Imola, and this is going to be a absolutely wild one. So, Tristan,
absolutely,
hopefully you're excited.
I'm by far excited, Stephen. I mean, you're talking about traffic. Traffic in real life was with 13 cars in the grid. We've got 46 cars lining up to the starting line here. We see Tim on the right side there with the checkered flag, with the starting flag, getting ready to wave these drivers off. We're looking at the top of the current stream at the red bars. Wait for them to go green, and we'll know that we're racing. Drivers slowly starting to creep up to the line. You can see the red lights are there, and everyone is getting their nerves, trying to get it a little bit settled as we head down to turn 1, waiting patiently for that green flag to hit. Everyone lined up in snake order. Green light it goes, and let's see who gets the better jump over here. Luke Addison gets quite a nice jump on the right side now. Philip Mina, nice little line up there from Tariq Adam and Henry May. It's getting very close down here into the first chicane for Imola. Philip Mina managing to keep his position. Luke Addison fighting off hard against Tariq Adam, but here comes Henry Mayer fighting in the top 4. The likes of Kieran Patterson joins the top 5 as well, looking behind the likes of Henry Mayer, and it's really getting close now. A couple of drivers in the back, and you can see the sheer size of this grid as there's 46 cars going around, everyone putting immense amount of pressure. Daniel Rowe trying to keep intact with Kieran Patterson. He's got the likes of Gideon Reyna and Brandon Kruger behind him, and he's going to really have to try and keep that train going. Philip Mina already pulling a 0.7 second gap away from Luke Addison, and following behind him is Tariq Adams, Henry Mayer, and Kieran Patterson for the top 5 so far. Great starting lap. Everyone managed to keep it nice and consistent through the starting chicane here for Imola, and an incredible start to the race. I mean, Stephen, that was full of energy. Did you see the size of that grid behind these cars?
It's absolutely mental, and how we haven't had any big crashes is also one to talk about. There's some Domingo trying to make his way through. He's with BG Smith. They had a little bit of contact. Falls Tar also trying to make his way through. Run for the vault, trying to get a little bit. So there has been little nudges. Oh, saying that is Hilton Nixon.
Stephen, commentator's curse.
That was before I got there. Hilton Nixon actually lost it, and it looks like it created a Constantino effect. Let's go back a little bit. He's in the Mustang and trying to make his way around. Brandon Kruger, though, a little bit further back by the looks of it. And, there was a crash way ahead. Unfortunately.
That looks like the likes of Henry Platt.
Yeah, that's not all put back together. A few drivers taking a bit of impact there. Everyone trying to make their way through. The 722 car landing up in the weeds as well. Unfortunately, this is Tianas Burta, who's had a bit of a rough time. So Tianas Burta charging his way down into Ravatsi 1 and Ravatsi 2. Is he going to be all the way through? Nope. He gets a little bit of contact, catches it. Oh, man, even the Project Vapor's getting turned around slightly. Giovanni Porzero trying to make his way back onto the back of Brandon Kruger. Brandon Kruger going after Gideon Reyna as they charge their way through. Kieran Patterson still not able to find a way past Henry Mayers yet, as this race is really starting to turn topsy-turvy. But fastest lap was set by Philip Minard, because he's got the cleanest air. He's running away at the moment to just try and break away from the rest of the field. He has to make an impact here and now. Giovanni Porzero on Tobago Krobler. They're fighting out to be 10th and 9th. Ryan Barrington-Smith lying in 14th. It's got Johan Kleinans and Jason Farmer chasing him down. I mean, this is where it's getting absolutely wild, and no one's holding back. Everyone's giving their all. I mean, Daniel de Villiers sitting with the likes of the Nissan GTR. He's keeping just ahead of Jean Verveers, but take a look at Henko van der Berg coming at him. So Henko's going to look for the inside line, going to go for a bit of late braking. Can he get that? Nope. Pulls out that one, decides it's not quite the best of ideas yet. Not going to throw his hat into the ring there, and going to keep on going. So interesting plays throughout it all, but 45 minutes of racing. This is going to be a monumental task for all our drivers to figure out what they need to do to stand on the top. Interesting stuff.
Absolutely. I mean, it's already shaping out to be an incredible race, and we've been going for 4 minutes here, Stephen. I mean, these guys are really not showing any form of lack of discipline and skill here. People putting pressure on each other. Ryan Barrington-Smith making the position on Jehan Kleinans now into turn 1 on the outside line. A little bit of a fight behind, as well with Daniel de Villiers on Jason Farmer. A double overtake, and they actually both get past there. And unfortunately, having to take the escape road there, unfortunately. So Daniel de Villiers got past there. Ryan Barrington-Smith did not, and Jason Farmer losing out a little bit as well. But quite a big pack over there forming. And one thing to note about Imola is that most of the cars racing here, a little bit of a tap there actually from Daniel de Villiers, coming from the likes of Jean Verveers. So a little bit of contact in our mid-sector over here. Oh, big accident over there. Someone broke a little bit late, and that's two teammates.
Yeah, Henko van der Berg and Vietia Burta getting into a little bit of a sandwich, and not going to be happy with that one. 21, unfortunately, getting swamped in, and that landed up with quite a few little bit of contacts. Verveers runs out very wide. Daniel De Villiers trying to come back in. Mac Finamurva and Hero Bukes trying to make up a bit of time. Issam Domingo all over the back of them, trying to figure out where he can go at this point of the run. But take a look further up the field. Kieran Patterson, Daniel Rowe, Gideon Reyna, Brandon Kruger, all chasing each other down. And Bego Krobler with Giovanni onto the back of him. Been a while since these two have crossed swords. And let's see what they can do here at the beautiful track of Imola. Oh, is Giovanni getting a snap understeer under braking. He's able to avoid, but that's thrown him into the dirt. He's lost out to Crystals, returning back onto the track, and Duplessis is going to try and out-drag him for Rigoli Esports. So the Rigoli Esports is going to go side by side, tucks right back underneath him, and will start to keep the power on. So Duplessis going to have to really work on some hard driving. Giovanni trying to defend that outside line, switches back. He's made his move. Duplessis tried to look for the inside, couldn't get that done, and Fleming Bauer had a run at him.
Incredible scenes coming up for the turn one, and it's going to continue to go for the next 39 minutes. I mean, people are going to continue to put pressure on each other. We might start seeing a little bit more incidents here and there as people are putting on the pressure, knowing that this is the start of the season, which means everyone is currently sitting on 0 points across the board. The first race is the first indentation of that calendar for standings. You win this race, you score yourself the maximum points, and you currently sit in first in the championship standings, which is exactly what Philippe Minot is doing. Pulling away 1.7 second gap already, fastest lap of the session. He's got the clean air, and he's completely out of the fight right now, in a good way. That's in a very good way. And currently sitting in our mid-pack over here, Gideon Reyna, actually talking about the two Omnius guys. We've got Bernard Reyna in chat, Gideon Reyna's brother, saying, let's hope that the two Omnius teammates can be nice with each other this season. We know that the likes of Gideon Reyna and Brandon Kruger often put a lot of pressure on each other, and sometimes have unfortunately ended not so well, with both of them ending in a wall or some sand trap. And talking about it, putting pressure now, Brandon Kruger goes around the outside, but we flash over to Ryan Barrington Smith here, also making a move over here on Jason Farmer, and lots and lots of pressure going on over here, coming down the next chicane over here. Lots and lots of pressure, as you can see from the behind. The drivers are stacking up nicely. Ryan Barrington Smith gets past the likes of Jason Farmer, pushing him a little bit wide, and this contact for Daniel De Villiers manages to recover the Nissan, and he's not happy. You can see him flashing that car like, hey man, what the heck was that? And trying to get back on track, but unfortunately for him, losing out on a couple of positions. He lost out to Mac van der Merwe and the likes of Isham Domingo, and he's going to have to try and recover it now. 37 minutes left here.
Yeah, that's going to be a close one. So, a bit of a change-up. Brandon Kruger has switched with Gideon Reyna, and now they're focusing on the attack. Oh, that Aston Martin getting very loose on the throttle. And Daniel Rowe trying to maintain pressure on Kieran Patterson. We do have a car off, and that's Hero Bucas, who landed up with a bit of a problem. The 135 as well. Hilton Nixon, who, oh man, just get that car into the pits. Just get that car into the pits. We have got a bit of a change-up, though. Take a look further down the field. Chantal Ensign landing up into the dirt, but Bymeister is landing up in the pits with a stop-go 30-second penalty, and that would be for jump start. But it seems like some of the drivers taking a bit of an impact here, not having the easiest time. A little bit further down, we have got Bernard Barkhuizen, who was he was our runner-up, and take a look where he is now, lying in 29th position and battling to get past Arno Stradler ahead of him.
Yeah, so it's actually quite a weird thing to see the likes of Bernard Barkhuizen a little bit further behind the grid, behind some of the new drivers. Arno Stadler also new to this season, potentially in previous seasons, but he's recently joined the Martian Racing, so some more Moon Martians joining on the grid. And as we speak of it, Bernard, getting a little bit unsettled there on that McLaren, but makes the position stick. And yeah, so a little bit of weird for him to see. I mean, he took second in the sprint and the championship, and currently struggling behind the back, but flashing a little bit further up. Bego Kribler trying to make up that ground on Gideon Reyna. The two cars in front of him having a little bit of a fight, both the Omnius drivers, so he's going to try and account for that in the Hybrid Racing Pro 1 Ferrari. There we see the position being made there. Gideon Reyna makes the position on Brandon Kruger, and that's left him exposed now to the likes of Bego Kribler. Looking up on the inside, he's making it very hard for the position to be made, and cutting across, cuts all along the inside line, but Bego is not letting up on this, holding on that outside line, trying to maintain the speed in that Ferrari, and Brandon Kruger just saying, nope, not going to make it that easy for you, holds the position of 8th, and currently sitting nicely up in front. Chris Stoltz also under a little bit of pressure from Giovanni Pozzo, in 11th position. Also, Quan Duplessis putting a little bit of pressure behind in the Audi, and this is going to be quite a fight. Equal machinery here, both the Ferrari 296s trying to put pressure. The Italian cars on the Italian grid, they're trying to show their home, the representation that they deserve, and they're going to continue to push it here as they send it around track. But also, like we mentioned, Quan Duplessis is not going to let them go. He is a little bit behind, so he's going to watch for this fight, waiting for a move and see if he can maybe make a position on Giovanni if he makes a mistake here. It's very easy to make a mistake when you're under pressure. Like Steven says, you can't keep looking in your rear views, and unfortunately Gerrit Bukes looked in his rear views and he's in 22nd hour, has to pull the car into a tow and has lost it. Let's watch a replay of what happened here.
This is Ryan Ferree, also had a bit of a problem as he was trying to defend against one of the Martian racing cars. Ferree tries his best and looks like a little bit of contact, runs out wide, and that threw him down the order as well. So there's been quite a few little bits of contact. Unfortunately for Gerrit Bukes, the 333 is now stationary in the pits. Brandon Kruger and Bego Krobler going and chucking their cars around. Giovanni's got a bit of pressure on Crystals, and Duplessis joining into the fray. But they're starting to battle with the back markers, and there's a reason why for that, because take Duplessis and Henko van der Berg, they are chasing each other down. Arno Stradler going in after BG Smith, and Gerry van Zyl having a good throw at one another. Immediately Arno trying to put his nose up on the inside, trying to get that pass done and dusted. So you as a leader have to be patient enough, let this fight happen ahead of you, and try and figure out where are you going to get the pass going. So this, it does change it up for the race. It's something that has been sitting on everyone's mind of what do you need to do to work through the traffic. Take a look at Dean O'Keefe lying in 35th position. The hybrid racing driver was a star driver towards the sharp end of the field. Unfortunately, it now seemingly looking a little bit further down. Imola not the strongest track. Chantal Hansen duking out with Graham van der Walt onto the back of him, and trying to make his way through. So this is going to be a wild one. Philip Minnar still leading out 3.2 seconds. He's opened up the gap to Luke Addison. Tariq Adams also slacked off. Henry Mayer up its fourth. Kieran Patterson, Daniel Rowe, Gideon Reinhardt, Brandon Kruger, Bego Krobler still hanging on the arches there. He's hoping to try and get any bit of momentum. Chris Stalls followed by Duplessis onto the back of him as well. Fleming Bauer is trying to push as hard as he can to get back into the train. Johan Kleinans is having a bit of fun. That was one of our backmarker Mercedes that kind of got a little bit off the gas and had that rotation get a little bit too much for him. Jason Farmer is going to try and get past as quick as possible. Ryan Barrington Smith leading the pack with Mac van der Merwe lying in 17th. John Verveers, Issam Domingo, Daniel the Hitman de Villiers a little bit further down. Chris Stills, though, does land up into the dirt, and that is a nightmare situation for the 27.
So a little bit there, unfortunate for Chris Stoltz. Let's flashback and see what's happening. Under a lot of pressure from Quan Duplessis and the Audi R8 LMS, and getting nicely close there, coming down into turn one. Let's see what happens here. Clips the first chicane quite nicely. A lot of sausage curb, and that's exactly what happens. The car, unfortunately, bottoming out on the sausage curbs. And that's actually something I was going to mention a little bit earlier, is the fact that most of the cars racing here tonight are extremely low to the floor. You've got a couple of the cars that can eat curbs for a living. You know, the cars like your Mercedes and your Aston Martins that can eat curbs quite nicely. Then you've got your Ferraris, a little bit lower to the floor, lower ride height, and they can really not do with a lot of curb, especially these sausage curbs here at Imola. You saw it for yourself over there. Unfortunately, one of the Ferrari drivers getting a little bit tipsy there on the sausage curbs. A little bit of impact there for Giovanni. Oh, and another tap. A little bit of aggression there from the likes of Bego Kribler. He's saying, hey, back off of my line. I'm going to try and chase on the likes of Brandon Kruger. And he's letting him off easy. But Quan Duplessis has also joined the fight again as he's starting to recover from that incident that he had in front of him. In this little three-pack, the fight for 9th is definitely on. If they can catch up a little bit to Brandon Kruger, it'll be the fight for 8th. As we also have Fleming Bauer, the teammate to Henry Mayer from last season, has also joined this fight. So incredible scenes that we see going on. The Ragioli Esports car of the Audi of Quan Duplessis doing incredibly well to stay behind those Ferraris, pulling an incredible amount of top speed. And I must say that the Audi is not one of the easier cars to drive. It likes to let that rear end speak a lot of smack. It likes to throw it around, and he's actually doing incredibly well. Kieran Patterson, someone else who's also doing incredibly well. Like we mentioned, he went on a bit of a sabbatical and played some cricket, and he's decided to come back to the sim and still dominate in the top 5. currently sitting in 4th position. He's got the likes of the championship leader from last season, Henry Mayer, currently sitting in 5th. He's got Daniel Rowe putting a little bit of pressure behind. So a nice little fight that we might potentially see between these two, as Daniel Rowe is slowly starting to catch up to that McLaren. And also Gideon Reyna, a little bit further behind the likes of Daniel Rowe, is slowly starting to accumulate some time over there. So also a fight for the 5th place position here between Henry Mayer, Daniel Rowe, and Gideon Reyna. Brandon Kruger a little bit further behind. He's got the pressure now on from Bego Kribbler, as he's looking. Brandon Kruger, a little bit of a bad. Brandon Kruger drive-through penalty, unfortunately. It looks like he touched the track limits over there, and it's really going to play on his motivation over there to try and continue pushing this car. Getting a drive-through up in the top 10s is really going to want to push him further down. And now he's going to be under immense pressure from behind, as the drivers ahead are going to see, cool, he's just gotten a drive-through. He might be a little bit distracted, so let's make it count when we can. Giovanni's definitely thought about that. He's now on the back of Bego Kribbler and could potentially make a move here on the straight. He's got the slipstream, and so does the likes of Quan Duplessis behind. It's a little bit of a dash coming down here, and we'll have to see what happens coming down the main straight. That car's got quite a lot of damage on it, but it does not reduce its top speed. So here comes the likes of Giovanni Pozzo, looking very closely up on the side of Bego Kribbler, pulls up onto the inside line. Will it be a move? And it's just not enough. Bego Kribbler goes a little bit defensive up on the inside of turn 1 and covers him off.
Absolutely incredible stuff. Bego Kribbler still holding that spot. Giovanni trying to focus as much pressure, sitting in those wing mirrors, constantly knocking on the door, and that's allowing Duplessis to creep his way into the fight and really start to lay on the pressure. Another close little battle that's happening out on track. Daniel de Villiers and Paul Fenter, a little bit further down, are going hammer and tongs at one another. It just doesn't matter where you look. There is drivers pushing the boundaries of where they can go. Dino Kia getting past Jean Mossad, who comes immediately backing at him. 30th and 31st, Wesselwood, but it does look like Ferrari trying to bring himself back onto track, landing up with a bit of a problem, as Jean doing everything he can to just keep that pressure and hopes that he can carry on a little bit more momentum. But at the moment, they're also getting swallowed up by Wesselwood behind, who is in the McLaren 720S, not having the easiest of runs. Bernard Barkhuizen, though, very, very slow on his recovery, so he landed up with a bit of a problem. This has been a bit of a nightmare drive for Bernard Barkhuizen. So let's take a look. His car turned off.
Huh, it's a bit of a weird one.
No, was it turned off? He was there. There was no throttle. And now coming back into the fight. So had a little bit of a tough time there. Unfortunately, he is now having to make his way through. This is a night to forget for him. As we go to Mac van der Merwe and Jason Farmer, they are pushing on top of one another. Brandon Kruger still out on circuit, despite having that drive-through penalty. Mac van der Merwe going to look for the inside line. This is going to be an advantage if he can just try and walk into the fringes. Mac van der Merwe gets that pass. Jason Farmer tried to go for the attack and go back, but couldn't quite get it done, as you see Paul Fenter completely missing the track, and de Villiers is the one right next to him. So as we do see de Villiers, side-by-side contact again, with a quick flash of the lights there by Paul Fenter. So those two had a bit of contact, the 42 and 93. Let's see if we can go back and take a quick look at it and go to Tim in the helicam. Side contact, second side contact, brings it back. What
I must say that is a phenomenal save from Paul, I won't lie. Managing to keep that Aston good, but then unfortunately parking the car on the racing line there. I think that was a little bit of spite back towards Daniel de Villiers after getting double tapped there on the main straight. So a little bit of fury going in between these two cars. Maybe it's the competition for which yellow car is best, as they're both running the front noses in yellow. But a little bit further up on the grid, Juan Viviers is still putting up a good fight for the hybrid racing car. He's trying to chase down the likes of Jason Farmer, and those cars really rattling over the sausage curbs. You've got a nice little fight here for 14th. Ryan Barrington-Smith leading the pack right now. He's got Mac van der Merwe behind him, but Mac also under pressure from the likes of Jason Farmer. So everyone trying to do what they can, pushing the cars to the limits, but also trying not to lose it. And as we see Brandon Kruger coming in to serve that drive-through penalty, I think if he stuck it out for one more lap, he would have received that stop-go, which would be way worse. And unfortunately, speaking about a stop-go, a driver who did get the stop-go earlier, unfortunately, Mr. Bauermeester, unfortunately looks like he has pulled out of the race, sitting in the pit lane over there, and has not done any form of lap since the start, where he did get that penalty. back onto Chantal Hansen, who has unfortunately lost the Ferrari coming out of the pinnacle chicane over there, the dark, very, very downhill braking zone, the Astral Minerali, and really losing the car. So unfortunate for her there, managing to recover it though, not too much damage on the front of the car over there, and managing to recover. She's now behind the likes of Nicholson. And back up to the top, Mac van der Merwe in the OG Nitro car, pushing still hard for this 14th position fight. And now the train's gotten a little bit closer, actually, as these cars are really starting to put the pressure on each other. We've got 3 Ferraris and an Aston Martin. So it's the powerhouse versus the basically stable line car. You know, the Ferrari is the midpoint car. As I've heard from some of the team members and other drivers, it's a car that drives like a car should. You know, it's got good top line speed, it's got good cornering. You know, whereas you get other cars like the Aston Martin with great top-line speed, and due to that big V8. But back further down the line, Giovanni Porzio in 9th, really starting to put the pressure back on Bego Kribbler. Looking up on the inside line, he's holding the line. Will Bego shut the door? As it's getting very close between these two. He's still got the inside line. He drives over those sausage curbs, and that's really going to reduce his speed coming onto the main straight. I don't think he's got the drive, actually, to fight that one off. You can see the likes of Bego Kribbler just slowly starting to pull away from him, but Slipstream will come into effect. Here he starts to pull on him again. I don't think it's going to be enough unless he goes for that risky dive bomb. As we approach corner 1, he looks up the inside line, he brakes, and unfortunately pulls back in once again. So unfortunately not able to make that one stick.
No, having a bit of a difficult time out there. Bego Kribbler managing to put a solid defense at the moment. And as we jump on board, just going and throwing the car around, you can see how unsettled it gets as it jumps over those curbs. Not going to be a happy camper. But they are running roughly about 20 millimeters off the ground, 15 to 20 millimeters on the bottom of the ground. So sausage curbs is pretty much like going and taking your pinky toe, putting it by the door and slamming the door. That is the easiest way of describing what it feels like to hit these sausage curbs. But as time starts to tick away, it is turning into a bit of a wild ride, except for a couple. The front has been very quiet. Philip Minnar, Luke Addison in 2nd with Tariq Adam as they're trying to make their way through. Kieran Patterson in 4th. 5th place, Henry Mayer, followed by Daniel Rowe. Gideon Reiner, Bego Kribbler, Giovanni Porzio, Con Duplessis, along with Fleming Bauer, Johan Kleinans, Ryan Barrington Smith, Mac van der Merwe, Jason Farmer, as they all fight it out. And it does look like Mac van der Merwe getting the pass on the likes of Ryan Barrington Smith. Ryan goes out wide, and here comes Jason Farmer on the drag race, making their way down. So Ryan's going to try and tuck back in, switches around, not able to get that pass. So Ryan lying in 15th position, going to settle down through Ravazza 1 and Ravazza 2 and try and carry the drive. Sean Verveers in 16th, 17th, Daniel de Villiers, followed by Paul Fenter, with Issam Domingo snapping around at the back of his heels. A little bit of contact between the two, and having a bit of badges put on there. I think for Paul Fenter, he's got a badge for pretty much everything. Kerry van Zyl, Henko van der Berg in 21st, 22nd on Australia, along with BG Smith. Gerry Duplessis, Vietia Buerta dropping off. So Gerry Duplessis, Vietia Buerta in 25th. 26th, Faztar, Dino Kier, Brandon Kruger. Check where he came out. 28th position with 1 drive-through. Tienas Buerta, Vesselwoerder, Bernard Barkhuizen, John Mossart, Ruan Kleinans is onto the back of him. Henry Platt, Elwin Prem, Ruan van der Walt trying to guess a bit of a snap round and look for a pass. Johan Verveers, Ryan Farie, Chantal Henson, Mordred Claessens, Hilton Nixon, and Jody Seidman still out on track. We do have a car stopped off though, and that is Chris Bremister in 43rd. So he's back out on track, but just not having the easy time there. Brandon Kruger gets the pass on Dean Nokia, so Dean's going to try and keep a very close eye on him and see where they can get by. Another pass that's happened. Bego Kribbler gets past Giovanni, but now Giovanni has got Duplessis all over the back of him as they go hard onto the brakes, try and bring it back. And Fleming Bauer now joined the party as well. We got a 4-horse train sitting in this top 10, and it's not going to be an easy one as Giovanni's having to go a little bit more defensive, holding an inside line. Going to try and carry as much momentum through, sweep across the nose. Duplessis tries to look for the inside pass, couldn't get it hooked in. And we'll have to just settle down a little bit here through Ravazza 1, Ravazza 2, down the main straight and utilize that slipstream. So definitely going to be a bit of an interesting battle, because here comes Fleming Bauer, and the McLaren's got some serious top end to it that's hopefully going to make it work as they charge their way down. It does look like Fleming Bauer going and taking a bit of momentum around the outside. Can he get it? Can he sweep across the nose? No, couldn't quite do it. Duplessis just stretching those legs ahead of him and saying, right, I'm done with that one. Time to move on. Mac van der Merwe and Jason Farmer putting pressure on each other, with Ryan Barrington-Smith doing everything he can to stay within the fight.
I mean, incredible performance for everyone so far, but I mean, a highlight as well, Mac van der Merwe is already 11 positions up from the start of this race. That just shows what can be done in a massive sheer size grid. Unfortunately there again, Bouwmeester going off the track, thankfully staying out the line of the racing line. But I mean, incredible scenes from some of these drivers really putting the pressure on and gaining loads and loads of positions here. And I mean, this is just the sprint. We've got 20 minutes left here. And the racing is still so action-packed. So Ryan Barrington-Smith was 13th a couple of laps ago. He unfortunately lost 2 positions to Jason Farmer and Mac van der Merwe. He's now still got Juan Viviers behind him. And a couple of drivers really starting to shape up and try and get those cars balanced for the remainder of this race. 20 minutes left, but you still have to put on the pressure. The likes of Harry Duplessis on the inside line now. Brandon Kruger going around the outside and got very close there around the hairpin there, getting a little bit bumper to bumper, and now looking all around the likes of Brandon Kruger to see if he can try and snatch that position back. I don't think he's going to be able to, as Brandon Kruger holds that line down. He's now got the likes of Dina Keir behind him, and Dina Keir also Tinus Buerta behind, so a little bit of a staggering line coming up for the hybrid racing team, as they are really making waves here. At Imola, stacking up together to try and take on other people. So Harry Duplessis got 2 cars behind him, a part of the same team. So incredibly tight race as we've got going on over here, and it's just going to continue to keep on going. 19 minutes, and we still have our current race leader Philip Minnaar leading now with a 4.3 second gap. So he is really starting to pull away from everyone else. Luke Addison still fighting nice and hard with Tariq Adam, but still further down the line, Bego Kribbler and Giovanni Gozio have really been giving each other the stick end. I mean, constantly swapping positions. As I talk about it, here comes Giovanni up on the inside line. Oh, there we go. Hilton, a little bit off, and thankfully managing to keep off of the racing line. He's taking some sponsorship stuff with him. Good on you. And he's managed to stay away from this. Thankfully didn't interfere with this fight, as that would have caused a lot of waves. And Bego Kribbler still sticking behind Giovanni now, trying to see if he can swap back once more. I don't know how many times they've swapped. I think about 3 or 4 times already in the past couple of laps. And they will continue to do so for the next 18 minutes. Juan Duplessis, unfortunately, losing out a little bit of a drive there. You can see the yellow Audi still trying to catch up. Fleming Bauer also a little bit further behind, still trying to gain on him, as this group was once a little 4-pack, and they've unfortunately split up into 2 main groups. So Bego Kribbler has now trying to put on the pressure. Will he be able to find it as he comes down into the final chicane before the main straight? Very close, as you can see the onboard camera there. You can actually see the Ferrari logo in detail almost there, as he's really on the back of the likes of Porzio. Coming on the back straight, will it be enough slipstream as he starts to pull that Ferrari into shape? We can see the rear wing. He's got a clear sky behind him. Bego Kribbler though, a little bit further behind, and here we go, the likes of Giovanni Porzio. Look at how close it is, and actually the likes of Kribbler taking the outside line. He's playing it safe here. He doesn't want to do anything too risky, but he might get a better line over here, as Porzio had to go defensive, and actually losing out a little bit of a drive there, but coming on strong still, and potentially might be able to make a position further on down this race.
Now Giovanni battling his way out, Bego keeping him absolutely honest, but you can see Duplessis not hanging around, bouncing over those curbs. He wants to try and get back onto that train. And take a look at Kleinans, Mac van der Merwe and Jason Farmer all throwing haymakers at one another. Mac van der Merwe going to go around the outside. Will he be able to make it stick? No, but it has compromised his inside line. Here's Jason Farmer trying to capitalize on that. Look to the inside, just couldn't get the power down early enough to stay within the fight. These drivers are hanging it all and giving it everything they got for the first round of the RaceFace.Pro PokerBet GT3 Sprint Series here at Imola, and it is going to be a wild race till the very end. I can say that for certain. And it doesn't matter where you look. I mean, even Bernard Barkhuizen a little bit further down, he's got a bit of damage to his car. He's chasing down Tinus Buerta. This is a fight for 25th and 26th position. This is where drivers are pushing themselves out a little bit more up the road, trying to get that little bit more of a climb and see where they can stay in for the fight. Mac van der Merwe still trying to push past Kleinans, couldn't get that done. Bego Kribbler trying to go after Giovanni Porzio, now is in the slipstream, pulling himself along, and they do have one of the back markers. That is Chantel of the Vernonworks Racing team, keeping to the outside, going to give it a little bit of a lift, let these two go on doesn't want to get too involved. Oh, speaking about giving a lift, that wasn't quite as much, but she's also in the race, so you can't really go and say that's a bad move. But honestly, some great stuff out there. We do see a bit of side-by-side in the three-way. Young Clayton's, Jason Farmer, now Ryan Barrington-Smith, and also Mac van der Merwe trying to hold that line. Mac van der Merwe snapping around. Clayton's tries to look on the inside. Here comes Farmer and Ryan Barrington-Smith. This pack of 4 is giving it absolutely everything, but there's no room for them to go. Mac van der Merwe still holding a defensive charge. Gets a little bit of reprieve from Kleinans, who is now trying to defend against Jason Farmer, who's up on the inside, tries to go for the send. Can he follow him through at the moment? Ryan Barrington-Smith doing everything he can. And now you got Fafirs playing into it as well. So we have got 1, 2, 3, 4, and going 5 cars, all having a good throw at one another to stay within that 12th position. I mean, this is like the end of a championship. They are giving it everything they got. Not backing down from the fight, over the curbs, absolutely just destroying that suspension on the way through. They are trying to just throw everything up in the air, see what sticks. Jason Farmer, defensive on the inside, trying to guard it. Oh, a little bit of taking too much curb. Ryan Barrington-Smith takes a little bit more. He slides out. Ryan Barrington-Smith's into the wall. He tried going for a pass. It did not work out for him. Unfortunately, that is all she wrote, as trying to jump those curbs. Oh, man. Absolutely heartbreaking, but that's what happens when you get into a close-knit fight like that. Anything can happen, and it takes one mistake, one move that can land up in the worst situation. So we do have that. Ryan Free getting towed back to pits, unfortunately having a problem with his car, so he's now towed back to pits. Fafirs and Farmers still fighting it out. This is a battle for 14th and 15th. You can see Jason Farmer holding the inside line. Going to go late on the anchors. Try and sweep the rear across the nose of Fafirs. And managing to do it, but just keeping enough grip to keep on the throttle. It's always one thing to play around with. If you know your drivers, you know what you can do. You want to try and get that nose across. You want to sweep the rear across them. Cause him to slightly lift. That 1 or 2 kilometers may play into your favor. Like Daniel de Villiers may get involved as well in this fight. That Nissan GTR is not hanging around.
Absolutely not. I mean, Daniel de Villiers really trying to keep it up here. And, fortunately gaining that position on the likes of Ryan Barrington-Smith after losing out. But further down on the grid, Johan Mostert now losing out to Dina Kier on the outside line. The BMW showing its straight line power over the Porsche. And managing to get that position done. That looked very close there. Had me biting my nails, actually. And managing to make that position stick. So Dina Kier up into 30th position. And unfortunately, another stop-go penalty. We see the likes of Arno Stadler now in 39th position, currently serving his stop-go. So another one. That's the second one of the session, but a little bit further up. So still, Jean Viviers really trying to hold on to the likes of Jason Farmer. But like we mentioned, still the likes of Daniel de Villiers further behind. And looking onto our virtual grandstand, unfortunately, Brandon Kruger saying his wheel has disconnected. So Brandon Kruger no longer in this race, unfortunately. That's a huge letdown, as he was doing an incredible job. Unfortunately, after receiving that drive-through, he lost out a little bit, but still fighting through the backpack. And he's completely lost out his drive now due to an in-person failure. So unfortunate scenes there. We hate to see it, but it does unfortunately happen. It's a part of the sport. It's something that you don't get to see in the other esports. You can't just, your controller doesn't just randomly break. Unfortunately, in sim racing, things do happen. You can lose network, your wheel can bomb out, and things can just happen. Alvin Preem, unfortunately, seeing the side tarmac over there as he plays defensive, trying to let a couple of the faster drivers get past him. He's now got Fleming Bauer putting a lot of pressure on him behind. Actually, I believe that's the likes of Henry Mayer. That's the top 5 fight right now, pushing a lot of pressure on each other. And Henry Mayer really just trying to get past his back mark. You can see the flashes are coming out. He's not happy. He's saying, please get out the way. Do not affect my lap. And actually a very good let go for Alvin Preem over there. He's now got Daniel Rowe a little bit behind him. He's also going to want to get past very shortly. Currently sitting in 6th position. So good fight. But unfortunately, Philip Minard has started running away from this race, Stephen. He's got a 4.5 second gap. And currently sitting in 1st. Further down though, Ruan Kleinhunt and the Martian Racing. And also putting the pressure on Juan Mostert, who has really lost his drive after being overtaken by Dino Kier. And a little bit further down now in 30th position. He's about to get overtaken again for his 30th position. He'll go down to 31st. So unfortunate scenes there. He's just really starting to lose the track and the car is starting to feel a little bit sloppy. You know, we've already done 35 minutes of racing here at Imola. It's a hot track. It's a very bendy track. Viertier knows it. He's pushing on behind Vessel Voda, who's actually in the McLaren this season. Last season, we saw him feature in the Mercedes. So trying something different, a little bit more power and a little bit more floor gathering on the McLaren, trying to keep it a little bit more stable. And now he's really under pressure from the likes of Viertier, who had the incident with his teammate earlier, and managing to actually keep the car nice and recovered. Carrie Duplessis also putting pressure on Bernard Barkhuizen, our championship runner-up from last season, is really struggling here at Imola. So unfortunately, just today not being his race, not finding the speed that other drivers are finding. So Harry Duplessis will potentially make the overtake here. The McLaren with a little bit more power under the hood, and might actually be able to hold it going down into turn 1. But unfortunate scenes for some of the drivers who have disconnected. Brandon Kruger saying it was very weird. His grip dropped. All of a sudden something happened and he felt nothing on the car, and that's unfortunately just how quick force feedback drops. Just like a car's power steering can drop, that's what happens in sim racing. So things happen, but we continue racing. We've got a fight here for 14th as Jason Farmer leads this pack with John Viviers and Daniel de Villiers behind. Paul the Wall Fenter a little bit further behind as well, as he's trying to recover from a couple of incidents he had earlier. So incredible scenes. Daniel de Villiers clipping over there at Aqua Minerali, and trying to recover that car. We also see Bauermeister trying to let a couple of cars past over there as he tries to stay out the way as a back marker. But incredible scenes of racing so far. We've got 9 minutes left of racing here. And then it's all going to be over for round 1. Then we move over to the next round, and that's how quickly 8 rounds happen. You know, we saw it last season. It happened quick. Mondre Klaassen knows it. He's trying to defend against another car right now, really putting on the pressure. Chantal Hansen has really got him on the back now. Mondre Klaassen trying to make the position on the next driver, and will potentially make it coming into the next straight.
Yeah, Mondre Klaassen's battling behind Chantal, just not able to get the grip. That Lamborghini not playing ball at the moment, so it's playing checkers, not chess, and he's having to really figure it out. Chantal's going for a great defense at this moment. Mondre Klaassen's also one of our top runners that was a proper top runner going back last season. It seems like this time round it's been a bit of a tougher time for the Pandassi Esports driver. Chantal doing a great job, now has to try and make her way around. But we do see Isam Domingo trying to make his way past. Quick flash of the light saying, come on, let me by. I need to get a little bit of time here, because Paul Fenter is starting to get that little bit more of a gap and breakaway. Chantal giving a slight lift and a break into corner to allow him to get by around the outside. Bit of a difficult time. That hairpin is not exactly where you want to get the position given up if you're chasing, but it's what he has to deal with and what he has to work with. I mean, this is where the racing comes in. It's definitely a hard push for anyone that's comparing into the worlds of esports. What we're seeing right now is that aggressive push down center lane of League of Legends and Dota. You got to really get your supports in there. You got to go and battle it out. For those that are big rugby fans, this is where you get your backline to just become that absolute forefront. Go and put a hole through so you can get the fastest person out there and send it. So yeah, absolutely great stuff for Fears with Jason Farmer and Daniel de Villiers onto the back of him. This is our closest battle at the moment, coming just out of the top 10. Everyone else seems to have settled down for the moment, as we've got Viertier, Buerta and Vesewoda. Ooh, a little bit of contact between the two of them. He's able to keep going, but unfortunately that little bit of contact is a sore one indeed. So it's going to be an interesting fight all the way through. Who's going to be able to make up time? Daniel de Villiers getting a bit of a unsteady underbraking. He's trying to go for that attack. Couldn't get it done. Oh, for Fears. Clipping the sausage curb. And unfortunately, couldn't handle that little bit of Borovos. And now here comes Paul Fenter to go and pick up the pieces. Gets past without too much of a problem. So Paul Fenter gains a position. He's also been having a bit of a difficult race. Getting nudged all over the show. But managing to score that 16th. And Fafia trying to recover from that 17th position. Jumped over the curbs. Not an easy one to bring back. We have seen some very interesting tactics to try and get those passes done. But there's only 2 lines on this circuit. It's either you've got it or you don't. That's it. It's a bit of a follow me circuit. You've got to try and keep it in the slipstream. Go for those late breakers at when you can. But once you trap behind, especially through Sector 2 and Sector 3, you are going to be really battling yourself out. Champensart loses out. Kleinons comes back at him, and take a look at Rim van der Walt puts himself in the middle of the two, and the big Mustang from Panacity gets it hooked in. So not quite the Werner Skuman, but definitely getting a wheel on the dirt there. And Kleinans is going to try and come back in. Van der Walt is really doing everything he can. Jean Massart around the outside gets that pass done and dusted. And now, likes of Rowan van der Walt trying to just keep out of the way for our top runners. And that is Tariq Adam getting caught behind him. And now having to figure out where to go as he loses a little bit of time to Luke Addison, who's just trying to carve through the field at the moment. These two have been close to one another, but just haven't been within attacking range to make it stick. But going through the back markers, I think, is one of the hardest parts of this entire circuit and where you need to be. Fast Start dealing with Bernard Barkhuizen. Then we've got Vesselwoda and Viertia Burta. That's another close battle out on track. Everyone else is still a little bit far from one another. It looks like they're just giving each other a little bit more room on the way through. Philip Minnar, though, going and making his way around. It does look like he is trying his best out there to keep the gap open. 5.6 seconds away from Luke Addison, and Tariq Adam, unfortunately, getting caught out behind back markers, is losing out that slipstream at a rate of knots. Kieran Patterson will be trying to chase him down with Henry Mayer. Must be scratching his head at the moment, trying to figure out where on earth is the pace. Where can he find it? Dean Nokia getting past Vesselwoda. So there was a bit of contact there between Vesselwoda and the likes of Viertia Burta. Let's see if we can try and take a look at it and see what happens. So the 388 car of Viertia Burta. So we've got Viertia Burta currently in the Ferrari, chasing down Vesselwoda, who is defending the inside line. It's going to come down to the sausage curbs. Viertia around the outside. A little bit of contact over the curbing. And, yeah, just unfortunately nowhere to go except for understeer coming in play there. And that's went and hurt Vesselwoda's chance. Henry Platt is on to the back of Jean Massart. A new name to the Nominous Gaming Nitro team. Going and jumping aboard there. Now having a bit of a battle of his own against Porsche. Jason Farmer losing our position to Daniel De Villiers. So interesting times during the off season. We have seen lots of, well, improvements, and we've seen a lot of team changes coming into play that is going to switch up the ante. Here with the last 3 minutes and 20 seconds, Philip Minnar still leading out the pack for round one of the RaceFace.Pro PokerBet GT3 Sprint Series Season 13, folks. We are back and running. Luke Addison in second place. Tariq Adam trying to close up that gap. He's 1 second behind Kieran Patterson, lying in fourth with Henry Mayer and Daniel Rowe chasing down in sixth. Gideon Renner in seventh. Eighth place, Giovanni Polzio, who is in a fight with Bego Krobler. If I remember correctly, Giovanni and Bego Krobler were originally on the same team many years back. That Giovanni was.
I think that they were.
Yes. So these two actually know these. They know these teams pretty well.
Oh, and a drive-through from Jehan Kleinans with 2 minutes left to go, unfortunately. Little bit of track limits getting exceeded there for the Delta Negative livery, and I'm wondering what happened to the livery. I mean, Delta Negative had a very, very slick livery last season, and unfortunately this time rocking a very simple grey and pink trim, which is a little bit weird to see. Maybe not getting the livery ready in time for the sprint. We might be able to see it tomorrow night if they are racing in that championship, but still, unfortunately, getting that drive-through, and that's really going to throw any form of chance away he had of winning or not winning, getting a good position for this race. Further down though, still Viertia Burta and Vesselwoda really fighting each other. We saw them doing some bumper bashing down into turn one, and now still very close on each other. Rowan Kleinans though also down in 30th, really putting the pressure on each other. So lots of these drivers, you can see they're trying to take avoiding action of these curbs because they're starting to get dangerous with these tires. Tires seeing lots and lots of wear on them, and that can cause lots of spins. Coming into our final thing over there, you can see over there the Ford Mustang also trying to avoid some of those curbs, and now actually that's the Ford Mustang of Rowan van der Walt now under pressure from Henry Platt, looking all around the Mustang. The Mustang plants itself on the middle of the circuit, and now Henry Platt in the black and white on the escaping McLaren takes a fat deep dive and actually makes it stick. That was an incredible move from him, and makes a nice position there on the likes of Rowan van der Walt, now chasing down the likes of Jean Mustard, coming into a 1 minute left, so potentially 1 lap left of this race. He's now in a fight for the position that follows. But further up on the line, here goes Tariq Adam. He's really close to Luke Addison now. So Luke Addison got a little bit of a gap from those back markers, but it looks like Tariq said, nope, I'm not accepting that. I'm going to put the pressure and I'm going to continue fighting. So Tariq Adam now very close, 0.4 seconds behind Luke Addison, really putting the pressure now with 47 seconds left of this race. You can see a back marker there, even getting a little bit scared of these two. They're really starting to fight each other. And unfortunately, it is going to look like it's going to be quite an easy race for Philip Minov. 6.5 seconds away from Luke Addison. A little bit further in front, he'll be finishing this race fairly shortly. But it's going to be all eyes on second and third over here, as they will be coming around to try and fight it off for the final time over here. You can see the pressure that Luke Addison is dealing with behind him. I mean, Tariq Adam is not making it easy for him at all, putting continuous pressure on that Ferrari. You can see him weaving to try and break the slipstream, as he knows the McLaren's got a little bit faster straight line speed, mounting those curbs. There's no room for error over here. Philip Minor a little bit ahead. He is going to cross the line as the race timer has finished. As soon as he crosses the line, that would mark the first round of the sprint series over, as Philip Minor comes around our final chicane over here to round it off. Where is Luke Addison and Tariq Adams? Are they still in the same positions as they continue fighting? Tariq Adams putting as much pressure as he can, but I think Luke Addison might hold this one as they come across. There, the race is finished. Philip Minor has just finished, and Luke Addison manages to keep second place from the likes of Tariq Adams, sits in second, and Tariq Adams follows in third. So incredible fight for second there, coming into the final lap, and Kieran Patterson a little bit further behind will come across to finish it off in fourth position for round one here for the RaceFace.Pro PokerBet GT3 Sprint Series of Season 13. Following on is the likes of Henry Mayer, our championship standings winner from last season, finishing off in 6th position. Gideon Reyna, an incredible feat, in 7th. Giovanni Pozzi, after the continuous fighting, manages to stay ahead of Bego Krobler in 8th and 9th respectively. Juan Duplessis in the Audi coming across in 10th. Fleming Bauer a little bit further behind, the Martian Racing driver, quite satisfied with that finishing result, 11th position. Mac van der Merwe, a total of 13 positions gained this race. An incredible feat from him as he comes across the line. Jehan Kleinans will unfortunately end this race with a 30-second timer added to his penalty. Unfortunately not serving that penalty. Daniel De Villiers, Jason Farmer, and Paul the Wall Fenter coming across the line. Isham Domingo also finishing it up now. Harry Van Zel about to come across, and the next drivers follow up. John Vivier is also crossing the line. Ryan Burngton Smith crosses the line in 21st, coming up very shortly. And Bernard Barkhuizen, our championship runner-up, in 22nd, fighting it down to the line with Ryan Barrington Smith. He's got the position. Will he manage to keep it sticking? And he does indeed, managing to take the position 21st from Ryan Barrington Smith on the last lap. I mean, wow, I thought it was over. I started calming down, and all of a sudden, that's it. The session's over, just like that, Stephen.
2 meters from the line. 2 meters from the line. That was all it took. Wow. Oh, wow. I would be, well, Ryan Barrington Smith, I'm sure, not going to be the happiest person sitting around the table. But what a race it has been, nose to tail right the way through. Very impressive racing. And I've got to say, absolutely great to see it's just properly going for a great start. I mean, this is what we want, some out-of-pocket racing. We wanted those close battles. We wanted to see those top-end fights. We wanted to see guys push the boundaries of what they can do. And it has been, so far, a very incredible run for our drivers. That being said, it is the end of round one, but we're going to try and get an interview with a couple of the drivers as they climb out of their cars, dust off themselves, and we'll be saying, sure, what a race that was. Incredible stuff. And, well, I've got to say, Tristan doing all the action calling, which is a bit different to what I'm used to. So, well done, Tristan. You managed to stick it up with all the close racing action. What a race. What a bit of time. I know a couple of people are going to be going back into the pits, rethinking strategies, reworking the likes of their setups just to get themselves ready. But there's a bit of a shot of we're going to have a beautiful time out on track. So much going on, but well done to Philip Minor for the race indeed. And man, you can see how chaotic it is with everyone all over one another.
Absolutely, and I mean, we're just going to have to wait a slight bit. The top 3 runner-ups, actually a couple of new drivers or existing drivers not from last season of RaceFace, joining in again. So they took the top 3 podiums. So not used to the format of coming in for an interview. So far, we do have our race winner waiting ahead for us, but we're just waiting ahead for the likes of Luke Addison and Tariq Adams. Not too sure if they'll be joining us, but at least we do have the race winner who will be waiting for us in the commentary box. So we'll wait on Steven's go for what he wants to do if we're going to be pulling on the race leader. But, I mean, Steven, incredible race. We just witnessed 43 cars on grid tonight at Imola. That was it was incredible. I mean, I struggled to continuously keep up with so much fighting that we saw. There was a fight every single corner on this track due to their sheer amount of drivers. But I mean, thankfully, due to my babble talk, all 3 drivers are ready for interviewing.
Yeah, absolutely great stuff. So let's bring them through and have a bit of a chat to our 3rd place, Tariq Adam. Tariq, welcome to the commentary box. What a race out there. What a busy race. You were chasing down Luke Addison for quite some time, and even the traffic got so close to you getting past him. How are you feeling after that?
Yeah, thanks. It was a decent race, good prep for tomorrow. The qualifying was just really tricky with a lot of blue flags. Basically, one-shot quali in the end, so it was a bit stressful. Could have started like 12th if I didn't get the lap in, so it was a bit stressful, but I managed to do it. And then, yeah, the race as well. First few laps was pretty good. Stuck with Luke, and then unfortunately, got some blue flags in really bad spots, so I got out of the slipstream and had to spend like another half the race just trying to get back into the slip. So it was quite difficult, but nonetheless, we learned a lot for tomorrow.
Absolutely incredible run. I mean, take us through your thought process. Seeing 46 cars down the grid, everyone chomping at the bit to go for the win, and you've been out of racing at RaceFace for a little bit of time. You came back for the endurance, but taking a look at everyone putting the fight out there, you think this is going to be a bit of a difficult season compared to your last season that you were racing here at RaceFace?
Yeah, definitely the competition's a lot better, a lot higher, a lot better now. Field's a bit tighter, so a lot of fast guys. So definitely will be, I think, probably the most competitive season we've had.
Absolutely incredible stuff. Well, Tristan, anything you would like to say to Tariq Adam before we give him the floor?
I mean, first off, incredible race. You and Luke Addison were going neck and neck there. Main question I think everyone is also wanting to ask in the virtual grandstand, what on earth was going through your guys' minds there? I mean, you guys were starting to fight each other. I mean, you had a little bit of gap between you and Luke Addison throughout most of the race. Then you guys went through a period of back markers, and you slowly started to fade off. And then all of a sudden, in the final 5 minutes, you were right on each other. So what was happening there? I mean, what was the thought process coming into the final couple of minutes, and you were right on the tail of second place?
Yeah, I was pushing 100%, setting it, trying to get to Luke. He made a bit of a mistake, and Akumanarale went off, lost about half a second, so I was able to get back to the slipstream range. Then the blue flags kind of increased it a little bit, but made it a bit interesting. And then, yeah, I was like basically on him in the last lap, but I just pushed a bit too hard in the braking and the dirty air with old tires, so kind of lost my opportunity. But yeah, it was good racing between him and me. Well done to everyone as well.
Incredible stuff. Well, Tariq Adam, you've managed to snatch at 3rd place for the round 1 of the RaceFace.Pro PokerBet GT3 Sprint Series. So the floor is yours. You can address the petrol heads out there in the grandstands, and it's going to be an incredible season of action, but also to our amazing partners joining up with us. The floor is yours, Tariq Adam.
Yeah, thanks to the sponsors for making the season possible. Thanks to my friends and, I don't know if I could say teammates or what, but my guys would be all drive together. Philip, Luke, Cody, Gio, everyone that's driving together. Good luck to them. Hope we all put on a good show this season and keep it clean and respectful.
Absolutely incredible stuff. Thank you, Tariq Adam. Wow. Gotta say, very interesting little bit of information coming in there. But we've got to move on to our 2nd place, and that is Luke Addison. Tristan, I'm handing the microphone to you because, well, I'm a bit beat after that incredible action.
I mean, Luke, incredible race that you had. You managed to sit in second for most of the race. Unfortunately, losing that timing to Philip Minot, who started to run away in the clean air. But you had constant pressure from the driver we just spoke to. I mean, Tariq Adam was mentioning the pressure you guys were putting on each other. How was it feeling out there in the hot sun of Italy?
Yeah, it was really good. The back markers were a bit interesting. It made it a bit challenging. So it was constant a moment of who gets slip. So Tariq would catch up with me, then a back marker would maybe break the slip, then I'd lose to a back marker more than him. So it was constant like catted back and forth. I think towards the end, I think his tires were a little bit better than mine, and he had a bit more cuts to play with. But yeah, car didn't feel as great as I'd hoped in the closing stages, so hope to make it a little bit better for tomorrow. But yeah, happy with the race.
Absolutely, but I mean, how does it feel being back on the grid here at RaceFace? I mean, obviously you've been here for a couple of previous seasons. You just missed the cut for last season of season 19, but you're finally here for season 20. You've made it in, and how does it feel? How's it feeling for the championship standings going forward for the next 7 rounds of the sprint series?
Oh, good. I think it's nice to be back. It's fresh. I'm impressed with everyone. Everyone's pace is a lot better, so that's good. It makes it very, very challenging because quali was very, very exceptionally close. Even in the practice servers, I could see that everyone was doing really good pace. So yeah, it's good. The competition is difficult. It's nice and tight, and yeah, it's good to be back.
Absolutely. Well, I mean, it's a fantastic to have you guys back. Much bigger grid as you saw from tonight. An astonishing 46 cars on grid. I'm sure that made qualifying hard, right?
Yeah, finding the spacing was a bit tricky because you would have to constantly look at your mirrors, look at your map to see who's on a lap, who's not on a lap, and then as you're prepping for the start of your run, someone comes diving down the inside. You're like, okay, let's build another gap, then you have to wait. So yeah, I think quali was probably the most tricky. Race was kind of a bit more relaxed because we built a nice gap to P4, which was nice. But yeah, quali was very, very tricky.
Oh, absolutely incredible performance, however, though. I'm going to give the floor for Stephen Koenig, just if he wants to ask you any questions, and then we'll give you the floor to mention anything that's your heart desires.
Well, Luke, I know that you're going and streaming out as well. Did you have any time to go and take a look to your own chat, or was it just, got to keep my eyes on the road, got to focus on what's happening here, because tight track, lots of cars, and the pace, no time to get off the throttle? You know, how was it trying to be an influencer and also now trying to be in this serious competition racing where there is no gap?
Yeah, it was pretty normal, I'd say, considering the LFM races that I do on the daily. So I'm constantly still looking at chat. I'd say in quali, I had to do it a lot less than what I would usually do because the banker lap I did wasn't good enough, and then the back markers made it a bit tricky. But yeah, in the race it wasn't too bad. I could still chat quite frequently. I just had to be a bit kind of cautious with Tariq closing in behind. But yeah, otherwise it was kind of normal.
Oh, absolutely incredible stuff. Well, Luke, we're going to leave the floor to you to address all our amazing petrol heads out there in the virtual grandstands and our amazing sponsors that have put this event together. So, Luke Addison, taking second place, the floor is yours.
I just want to say thank you. It's awesome to be back. Props to all the competitors. They drove very, very well, made it quite tricky out there. Thanks again for all the commentators, the organizers, the sponsors for putting on this event, and thank you to ITB. So yeah, that's it.
Absolutely incredible stuff. I think ITB is going to be very happy with the positioning. Luke Addison finishing up in second place. Well, it's been what everyone's been waiting for. It's time to bring up first place of the RaceFace.Pro GT3 Sprint Series, powered by PokerBet. I mean, this is going to be a wild one. Philip Minor, welcome to the commentary box. Long time no see, and well, long time on the track by yourself. How are you feeling after that?
Hello. Yeah, long time no see indeed. I'm very chilled after that race. It was a very, very easy going race. Just a 25 lap hot lap, I think. So I had no stress and no problems behind or in front. So smooth sailing, I think.
And I mean, going through the back markers must have been difficult because they were in some constant fights ahead of you every time you pitch up. What is the type of headspace that you need when you're catching up to guys that are they're in their own race? They are fighting for their own positions, and you wanting to just continue your pace up front. Take us through that.
So, well, first of all, you need a clear head, and you don't want to do anything stupid. So, it's two races. It's your race and the back mark in front of you also has a race, and no one's race is more important. So it's always important to keep that in mind. So generally, you just look for a rational gap and a rational move, and just go for it. Just go for the move when it's open, and minimize the time you lose behind the back marker. Yeah, just get past.
Incredible stuff. And I mean, lining up on the grid, 46 cars starting for the season. I mean, this is absolutely off the rails wild racing. And got to say, some incredible side-by-side action. How did you feel when you looked at the entry list and just saw, well, not even the entry list, just look in your rearview mirror and you just see cars tailing on behind you, every single driver looking to take your spot that you've just managed to grab, and knowing that it was a little bit closer than planned than to have the likes of Tariq Adam and Luke Addison chasing you down?
Yeah, I mean, I know Luke and Tariq really well. I've known them for 2 or 3 years now, and I would say we're pretty good friends, and on and off track, of course. And I trust them, so I didn't think anything about it happened, and I was pretty impressed with their pace in the end in the race as well. I mean, the Ferrari is really tough here because it's such a wide car, and for that car to be fast on Imola, you need to really extend track limits a lot further than most cars. So it's a really hard car to drive there, as well as the McLaren with all the torque on exit. It's also one of the more tricky cars to drive, especially on Imola. So you stops at them for their pace as well, and yeah, nothing else to say about that.
Absolutely incredible stuff. Well, I've say it's absolutely incredible. Your pace was well done, and Tristan, anything you would like to say before we let our leader go and celebrate the win here today?
I mean, obviously, incredible performance, pulling away a nice gap in the beginning of the race and finishing it off nicely and strong in first. You are now the current championship leader for the RaceFace.Pro PokerBet GT3 Sprint Series for Season 13. And I mean, how does it feel? How does it feel currently leading it off? How are you feeling going into the next race? Are you confident that you're going to be winning all 8 rounds?
I don't know, because the Ferrari is really good on tires, and Luke is obviously not a slow driver, and Tariq as well. But I would say the hardest track is gone by far for the Aston. I mean, it's the flow in this car and this combo today was very strange when I hopped in today. It doesn't really flow like I know Imola. I know the track extremely well. I've driven a lot of races here. So the flow was really strange for me. Hopefully it's different for Valencia. The other track I'm worried about is Watkins, because I haven't driven there in the Aston yet. So we'll see. But yeah, I will try my best for every race and see how it goes. Go with the wind.
Incredible stuff. Well, I'm going to give you the floor to address our petrol heads in the virtual grandstand, and also to possibly address our amazing sponsors who have made this event happen. You can have the floor to yourself, good sir.
Yeah, well, first of all, I've got to thank my parents for watching, and our sponsors, Go Setups, ACC Drive, Loafer Motorsport, Sync Mesh Gloves, which I use this race, keeping my sweat out of wheels reach, and obviously thank you guys for the wonderful event you guys are holding this season, and I'm looking forward to the next few rounds and the next few weeks. Hopefully it's going to be fun. And of course the sponsors of RaceFace.
Absolutely incredible stuff. Well done. Congratulations, Philip. And we will see you for the next one next week. But absolutely incredible. Go and enjoy the celebrations. You have earned it.
Yeah, thank you.
Wow, oh wow, oh wow. Tristan, what a race we had. And it's sad that we've come to the end. But man, oh man, this has got me hyped up for the rest of the season.
No, absolutely. I mean, I'm looking forward to tomorrow night's race. much longer race, and obviously splitting it off into 2 grids, which means that pro division, Stephen, which you're going to be commentating and casting for, is going to be like a house on fire. So good luck with that one. I'm chilling with the Pro-Am drivers, the Pro Lights, like they like to call themselves, but also not slow drivers at all. So tomorrow night, fantastic racing coming your way for the RaceFace.Pro PokerBet GT3 Championship Season 20, which is a phenomenal feat to conquer. So incredible stuff. We've seen some incredible things tonight. Do not forget to go and like the stream if you enjoyed it tonight. There's many more events coming along your way. Actually, another 15 events coming your way for the ACC calendar, another 7 races for the sprint, and another full 8 adrenaline-filled rounds for the championship race. It's going to look hot, Stephen.
It's going to be a wild one. So, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, make sure you hit that subscribe button, hit that bell notification icon, and let us know, who are you supporting this season? Also, follow out on all our social medias. And also, down in the bottom, go and see if you have your luck with PokerBet, as we've got the link in below. The affiliate link will not only just support us, but also give you the opportunity to win big with PokerBet. And from myself, Stephen Koenig, and your lead commentator, Tristan Herbs, all the way here at the THT Productions, we'd like to say thank you very much for tuning in, being with us, and we'll see you at 8:10 tomorrow evening, South African time. And like always, a good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and good night, everybody. With all the amazing racing that comes to you weekly, we have to give acknowledgement to our sponsors. Without them, this would not be possible here at RaceFace.Pro. So starting off with our first sponsor, let's go and take your hats off to PokerBet. For all the tournaments, for all the cash gains, daily free rolls, and sports betting, there's no better place to be and win with PokerBet. With it all revved up and you're looking for high speed, whether you're into drag, drift, or even long circuit, Red Star Raceway has got you covered. If you're looking to upgrade your car or make sure it's running slick and smooth, go and head over to Extreme Service Center to get you that full mile across the race line, or whether you're going good in the dash. Sliding in to keep you on your toes, Scallywags Drift Academy will keep you right at the top of the pack. And if you're looking for all your streaming needs, head over to Tenvo Tech for all the overlays. Once again, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, it's been an honor having you. We'll see you next time right here from the THT Productions.